Nicolas, we're here these days for the splendid summit, EU Summit, Citizen Summit. Why this summit? How on earth did you get to this idea?
Because as CNCD, we are the umbrella organization of international solidarity, CSOs, and we are lucky enough to be a member of several EU networks, and we see the strength of each of those networks in its own domain, in its own silo, climate change, migrations, and so on. But we feel the urgency some weeks before the European elections to speak from a common voice. And we wanted to organize this summit so we can speak together towards the European institutions and say the EU policies as they are framed today aren't working. So let's restart. Let's start from another point, and that point is an open, fair, and sustainable Europe.
Is anyone listening to you, to us?
I hope so. We would love to be listened to more. But yeah, I think we made our voices heard, and joining our forces, we think we will be heard. We see that when we unite and when we mobilize, we can change the game. We saw, for example, 5 years ago, hundreds of thousands of people in Europe on the streets to have more climate ambition. And then we had the EU Green Deal, which is insufficient, but is a step forward.
It is.
So we know that if we mobilize, we can change the game. Not alone, united, but as we see now that there are so many steps backwards, it's more important than ever to be together and to stay united.
Also, with this, during this summit, Citizen Summit, there is also a political summit here in Brussels. Which message would you, as a representative of this umbrella organization, would like to send to EU leaders?
Don't take a break on anything. Go forward towards a just transition to a sustainable society, a sustainable economy. I would say stop opposing economy, social justice, and planetary boundaries. The only sound solution for Europe today is to put those three dimensions together in Europe, but also towards the rest of the world. We see how much the European Union is put away by many countries in Africa, Latin America, and Asia, and that is because it is not coherent in its policies. So if we want to have our just place in the international community, let us keep our promises and let us be coherent with sustainable development.
The platform is about international solidarity. What would you say to those who say, yeah, why should we care about other peoples and other people on other continents while there are crises here in our home, in our society, on our continent?
I would say that our own prosperity is only possible in a prosperous world. And if you don't have democracy in Tunisia, Egypt, or Russia, this has influence within Europe, and we see it. We see far-right movements coming up in Europe. What happened in Brazil with Bolsonaro, in the United States with Trump, is coming to us. So we have to fight for democracy within Europe and in the rest of the world. Migrations, same thing. Do you really think we can be prosperous while in a fortress Europe? We need the strength and the contribution of migrants to our prosperity. So closing up on our own identity on a closed Europe is the best way for Europe to draw down, I think. Let's be open and let's have hope, and we will contribute to the prosperity of European citizens.
So this is the positive message that this summit, Citizen Summit, sends out to the world.
We hope to have continuation. We will see so many hundreds of people and organizations that have participated in those 2 days. We had more than 200 organizations taking part to the meeting. We don't have a decided process after the summit, but we have the Brussels Declaration. We hope to spread it up.
What does it say, this process?
Exactly what we are talking about, that the open, fair, and sustainable Europe is the only sound solution. And we invited our participants to join the process of the event that is organized in Marseille at the end of April, where we can continue discussions. So we have that moment, and we have many international summits during the year coming. The COP29 in Baku, the Financing for Development Summit in Madrid in 2025. We have to use those moments to call for another world.
It sounds like a pretty intense time that we live in.
First, don't despair. There are many reasons to have fear, and fear is legitimate. So we have to listen to our fear, but not to despair. We have to listen to our anger, but also to our hope. And my first message to European citizens, especially to the youth, is we can do things differently. So let us bring everybody together around hope and around another project for Europe and the world.
Thank you very much. It's been very insightful. Thank you. And good luck.